to have the opportunity to interview my soror, Doris Smith. And wow, what an incredible, incredible woman she is. Let me take an opportunity, first of all, Soror Doris, and say, welcome to Conversations for Sisters Only.
Thank you.
Now listen, you are a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and you were initiated in what year?
November 17th, 1944, Virginia State University.
And on that initiation, how many of the sorors were on that line when you were initiated?
I remember probably 13.
13. 1944.
Yes.
How incredible. So without me doing the math immediately, how many years is that?
That's 75 years.
You've been a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated for 75 years.
It is amazing.
Now, you're also currently a member of Zeta Omega chapter in Wilmington, Delaware. What year did you join the Zeta Omega chapter?
I joined Zeta Omega in 1958.
And you've been a consistent member of this chapter and this chapter is 75 years old.
This chapter will soon be 100, and I've been an active member since 1958. Wouldn't you like to know that I transferred here from Virginia, and when I left school and all those other members in 1944, there were no Alpha Kappa Alpha chapters in the Virginia counties where I worked. I like to think that I would have been an active member, but there were no chapters to join. And when we left Virginia State, many of us were looking for jobs.
Yeah, and let's talk about your job, because your degree is in what area?
Elementary education, childhood education.
Now, you wanted to go into childhood education, and we had a conversation some time ago, and you talked about there weren't opportunities at that time in 1944 for you to do some other things you maybe wanted to do.
In 1944, actually, I don't know where we're going there. I was a teacher, and then I retired as an administrator. But through the years, I have worked from high school, which I thought I wanted to teach, found out that people died on the job. That's why I switched to elementary and early childhood, so that you could get a job. And so after that, I decided I would do the business courses and be qualified to move into an area because I'd have the background. So that's how I actually was in elementary, and I've done, what I was going to say, supervisory and administrative.
Yeah. So you've been a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority for 75 years, and you are an active member of this esteemed organization to this day. You've not missed your meeting.
Only a few, and that was only because of a conflict with another organization or whatever. And so that's very few. I've made meetings, and I'm happy to say that I'm still working. I have projects going now, like updating the history of Zeta Omega.
Now, let's go back to your initiation in 1944. What do you want to tell us about the initiation in 1944 that sorors whose shoulders, that we stand on your shoulders? Tell us about being initiated in 1944 and today. What can you share with us about that time?
I would love to just say that in 1944, our emphasis was on our chapter being on the dean's list. And there was competition, of course, with other, Greek organizations and whatever. And I will say today, if I had known of, or our group then had known of any kind of hazing, I would not be an Alpha Kappa Alpha member now. We were encouraged to do our work. We were encouraged to be sure to get good grades so we could have our names on that dean's list. I remember that. We did, we did floats. Oh, I know, I remember so well. That was back when you had Camp Lee near, And many male students were there. They couldn't continue their education because they were, going into service. Our chapter and the other Greek organizations too would entertain them on the campus. We would have teas, programs, so forth, and they would come over, and that was, a nice educational experience. And in turn, we were taken to the camp for affairs. We were taken over, well, it was busloads at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I met a number of young men who were unhappy about going into service, but it was very interesting to speak with them, and they appreciated and admired what we were doing as Greek-led organization.
All right. 75 years in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. What do you say to those of us who hope to be members for 75 years?
I believe that having an interest in whatever helps to keep you active. And if you have an interest and then have goals, you just become so involved, it becomes a part of your life. I can almost say that now. I think I have always been interested in keeping records of your dates, keeping record of your history. That's what I've been telling Zeta Omega, and that's why I voluntarily have been compiling papers. I haven't been writing history. I call mine a scrapbook of history, so that you wouldn't forget the real important things that have happened in your chapter. And I think my interest goes all the way back to a part of your DNA.
Yeah. Now let me
you were reared.
Yes, and having a historical document is so very, very important. Now let me ask you, as we get ready to close, before I give you an opportunity for your closing comments, what do you remember about the women who were on your line in 1944?
You have to remember that we were in an Ivy Leaf pleasure club before we actually went through the initiation process. And all of us had been working how to conduct a meeting, service projects. We had worked 1 year. So there was no foolishness going on at that time. And that's why I say if I knew of any of the things that I have heard, meeting the young people from Theta Iota in Westchester, that I went with the graduate advisor to talk with those young people, more so than I did with Lambda Gamma, because I was a bachelor's at the time that we chartered Lambda Gamma. So I have been not a grad advisor, but I have participated with the advisors in their meetings. And what's so exciting about Theta Iota in Westchester was the first one that our chapter chartered. And the young people were talking about certain ones didn't work. They didn't finish their project. They were doing their little complaining at the chapter meeting. And that's where I always came in voluntarily, and a grad advisor would let me talk to them. And I used to tell them that this is an experience getting you ready for the workaday world. You learn to know your people. You learn to know who will follow through. You know the time limit. So those that don't follow through, you may be able to help them. But if you have a deadline, you need to know the people that will move on the project, so that it won't hold you up.
Now, Soror Doris, was it maybe a year or so ago at the North Atlantic Regional Conference, you actually ran into one of your line sisters, totally unexpected. Is that a true story?
That's a true story, and that's what's been so exciting. As I was recognized April 5th, Atlantic City, and that was a surprise. My members didn't tell me. I don't know why any of that 13 didn't keep in touch with each other, because I'm a person that usually does that. And I just think it was because of the times, and because as we left, we were just seeking jobs. And then, as I said, as I went out into the workaday world, there was no AKA chapter, but I lost contact all those years. So meeting this lady, Soror, that was a surprise.
You had no
her,
idea that she was going to be at the regional conference. And when you saw her, after how many years?
That's all those years.
So
and
you
I
have
recognized her name. Had not seen her.
You had not seen her since 1944.
No.
And you went to the North Atlantic Regional Conference in the spring, I believe, of 2019.
2019.
And you run into her, you recognized her name, and how did you feel about that?
I was excited. She was excited. She knew she was coming. I think she knew that she was going to meet the other person, but my chapter did not tell me who was going to meet. And I recognized her maiden name, when I saw her. And it was just that, along with everything else that happened, has made me so fulfilled and so excited. And we have talked constantly, regularly, since that day. We exchanged telephone numbers. I had a call from her just last week. She has visited me because it's easier for her to come to Delaware because she has a son who lives in Delaware who
can take and help.
But she visited him anyway. That's what I first found out. She had a son. And so she voluntarily came to me. We spent an afternoon, months ago, going down memory lane.
Wow, 75 years of memory lane.
Yeah, I meant all those years that we had not seen each other.
Yeah.
Right, and we talked. And I by me working on history and whatnot, I had scrapbooks and had my work there in my workroom.
Do you have photos from 1944?
No.
Okay.
No, I really don't. That's regrettable.
That's all right, but but what
we weren't into photography then.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, but what is wonderful is the fact that you were able to run into one of your line sisters at the time, all these years later, and to have the beautiful memories and the fact that you two sorors are now in contact and talking on a regular basis is a beautiful thing. So, what do you want to say to us before we go? What do you want to say to every soror that is watching this right now with the legacy that you are leaving this incredible organization?
I think you enjoy your sorority, your chapter. You love it, you respect it. When you become a part of it and actually are a working member, you must follow the business. You just can't be in and out. You must be involved, and the more involved you are, the more you appreciate what all other committee members do, what officers do, because it's work to do anything and have it to be a successful
And you are
job.
an active working member of Zeta Omega.
As of now, as of today, my unfinished project is updating our history from where we had done it in up to 2008. So actually, I'm pulling the best of all the materials I have from 2009 to 2019, and I'm jokingly saying I'm not compiling anymore. I'm really retiring.
Soror, it is so wonderful to have you join us, Soror Doris Smith. Initiated in Alpha Kappa Alpha at Virginia State University. Your chapter again, Soror?
Alpha Epsilon.
Alpha Epsilon at Virginia State University. And actually it was Virginia State College at that time.
Oh,
right?
You don't want me to say, do you?
That's okay.
It's on my degree, on my certificate. Virginia State College for Negroes.
Wow.
We see we've come that far.
That far.
And now the name is Virginia State University.
So in 1944 it said Virginia State College for Negroes.
I have the frame, I have it. And when I tell my sorors, they laugh. And what is interesting is, you see, we couldn't leave and go to University of Virginia. And another friend and I decided we wanted to go to grad school. So what happened, your state will give you you know,
Like a
stipend
clearance.
so that you could go elsewhere. And my friend and I continued our education at Teachers College, Columbia University, and it took 4 summers to do that. So that's
And here
how
we
that
are,
happened.
almost on, and here we are, many years later. Thank you so much for what you've brought to the, just to this conversation. On behalf of many sorors, thank you for the service that you've provided to this organization and the legacy in which our founders, the expectation that they had to continue to grow this organization in service. We absolutely love you to life, and there's nothing you can do about that.
And thank you for my last comment would be, of all the things that I've compiled, we can call it a part of history, call it whatever. It has been work, but it has been a labor of love because I've enjoyed doing it, and it has enabled me to remain active.
All right.
And I think that's why I'm as active as I am at this stage of my life. Because I must say, you know, my DNA enabled me to reach this age in order to be recognized in Alpha Kappa Alpha. And I feel so blessed to reach this age, and I feel so happy to have had this recognition.
Amen.
Thank you.
Let me just get your badge. Thank you, Soror.
Thank you.
Mwah!
Thank you.